Yeah.
Yeah? Oh. Yeah?
I love you, baby.
I love you too. Who is that texting you?
Nobody, baby. Don't worry about it.
Nobody. It says Tina. Who the fuck is Tina? Who the fuck is Tina?
Bitch, you know what? Get your shit and get out.
You know what? I love you, babe, but maybe we should take a break.
A break? Maybe you should kiss my ass.
Sound familiar? You in a relationship and the shit ain't working. It's time for the truth. This is the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Voice of Reason has returned to Hot Button Radio. Once again, Hot Button is the station. Dash Network, or Dash, the app, is how you get to the network. You got to download the app. It's free. iPhone, Google Play, all that. What is the iPhone thing called again? iStore? Apple Store, right? You can download it from there. It's important that you participate if you want to hear these live broadcasts. Today's a special show. All the girls are gone. I'm opening up the phone lines right now, right? Because I want my eyes and ears on the streets of Baltimore, Philly, New York, D.C., Maryland, the DMV, New Jersey, Delaware. I want everybody to stand up and tell me what's happening. Report to me what's happening out on the streets. It's important that we know what's going down. We know what happened to the brother. We know what's going on. And I'm telling y'all, I'm going to use this platform to explain to y'all how we're manipulated via the media, right? Various sources of the media that really gets us caught up out there. And then I think the lower levels of our people, who not really lower, they just don't have the tools. They don't have the understanding how to play this chess game. So every time the system makes a move, we overreact, right? So it's a cold situation going on in these streets right now. Get to your phone lines. 844-55-1 is the number to dial. 844-55-1. We want to report on what's happening with the Freddie Gray situation in Baltimore. I mean, this is crazy. So get to your phone lines and let me know what you think. Now, up to date, up to speed. Everybody know what's going on out here in these streets, but what we want to do is kind of give an overview, right, of what's happening, right? We have a topic for today's show for sure, but I definitely want to stay connected with the folk and get the information about what's been going on, right, concerning Freddie Gray. So, again, I need everybody out there to get to your phone lines, 844-55-1. It's hella important that we speak on this. As a matter of fact, I lied. Ashonti Ford, a.k.a.
Red Panda,
is in the building right now.
Sorry, I'm late. It's just crazy in these streets when you're on that paper chase. You know what I mean? It's wild.
Right. So what I need done, I'm going to throw this over to our resident correspondent, Ashonti, and she's going to get us up to speed with what's been going on in the Freddie Gray case.
Okay, so I'm reading the breaking news from CNN.
Yes.
So I'm just going to read the article. Okay. Freddie Gray did not get timely medical care after he was arrested and was not buckled into a seatbelt while being transported in a police van. Baltimore police said Friday. Police Commissioner Anthony Bates told reporters that there are no excuses for the fact that Gray was not buckled in as he was transported to a police station. 5 days after Gray's death and amid ongoing protests, police officials acknowledged mistakes were made during and after his arrest. Gray, who was stopped April 12th after a foot pursuit through several housing complexes, should have received medical attention at the scene of his arrest, said Deputy Police Commissioner Kevin Davis. Mm-hmm. You want me to read the whole thing? Or is that enough? Because that kind of was the gist, but I could read more.
The gist?
Yeah, that was the gist.
I will bite you.
And whomever doesn't know about it has been under a rock anyway, so that should be good enough.
It's true, but we want to catch them up. So what's happening now is there are riots in the streets, right? People are going nuts. I got a topic for today, and I plan on getting to it. But I feel like it's our obligation to open up these phone lines and talk about what's happening in the streets and what's happening with our people. Oh, by the way, if you're on Twitter, tweet me at Zoe Williams. I will read your responses. We've got Veronica Conway on the line as well. Veronica, holla at me.
Hey, Veronica.
Hey, y'all. Hey, crew.
So, we started off on slightly a different topic today. We have a topic in place, but I wanted to, kind of cover a quick overview of what's happening in the streets right now in Baltimore. Yeah. And I think we need to deal with that. Veronica, do you think there's a concerted effort, right, to get us to overreact, to get us out there in these streets acting crazy, or to prey on our ignorance to not know better? 844-55-1. Speak to me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is rioting, protesting, marching, none of that stuff counts in a capitalist society. That's the truth. And so we can do that all we want. We can come out and we've been programmed to be a walking, living reaction to the impact of white supremacy, and I'm going to say the impact of white aggression. Because understand that it's about aggression. It is about making a point that black bodies don't matter. And they keep telling us over and over again. I mean, they keep doing it over and over again. They're on orders from somewhere to keep doing it over and over again. And we keep having the same reaction, and we need to stop and think and begin to have a different reaction. We just do. It's about economics. It's about controlling these courts and these judges and these juries and these, right? It's a money game. And if we don't wake up to that, if we want to opt out of the system and advocate out of the system and say, I don't want to have to deal with money because that's their thing, then we are going to miss the point. It's either spiritual or economic, and I think it's both. Both.
So Veronica, say more about, because always, you know me, I'm big on, there's spells being cast in the media, and we're always under a particular type of spell. Say more about that, okay?
Yeah, well, it kind of goes to the point of what your earlier show was, which I was so grateful that you did that show. What is being projected into our consciousness is a constant barrage of hypnosis, a constant barrage of imagery that shows us as being victims and victimized, a constant barrage of media that shows us as weak and subservient and powerless and as thugs. And so we adopt that to some extent because you can't bombard somebody's subconscious over and over and over again with such powerful mediums and not expect the person to act as though that reality is the truth.
Ashonti?
Well, let me just first say this. Obviously, racism is not over, but I'm at this point where I'm over racism. And it's almost a certain numbness that I've taken on when it comes to stuff like this, because the only reason that a lot of these are coming out now is because we have the technology to record it on phones and et cetera, et cetera. But this has always been going on. So it's just kind of like, what do we do? We're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't, because if we march and we protest, we're aggressive and wrong. But if we do nothing, then we're not empathetic enough. It's like, what do we do?
Wow. And you know what's crazy? CNN is reporting, well, this guy, he probably would have been killed by the Bloods or the Crips or the Black Guerrilla family, anyway. So he got killed by the police, but he probably would have been killed by one of them anyway, because black on black crime, that's their justification for police brutality, is black on black crime. But let's look at it in this context. The Bloods, the Crips, and the BGF, Black Guerrilla family, united with the Nation of Islam in the DMV Baltimore area. to fight against this type of corruption. So if that's not being reported, then the whole truth is not being reported. And once again, let's control the narrative. Let's get out in front of the narrative, because once we get out in front of the narrative and shape the minds of the people that are reacting to the media, that are learning from the media, then their own people will stand up and squash this kind of rebellion. But we got to have a different kind of rebellion. It has to be rebellion, but it can't be this kind of rebellion, because this kind of rebellion leads to a massive display, right, of military force that we can't match, right? We have to have a different type of attack. Ashanti?
I want to hear from, the Baltimore DMV, DC area, because I'm sure they have an even larger connection to it than we do. Report the news to us. Call in 844-55-1. We want to talk to you.
Maureen from Virginia, you're in the building. Holler at us, and then I'm coming back to Veronica Conway. Maureen.
Hi, King Zo. How are you?
I am well. Talk to me about what's happening out there.
How you doing?
I don't. So my heart is just so heavy for the simple fact that, lately I've been listening to Mr. Neil E. Fuller, and he's been talking about race soldiers and just how we need a code of conduct, and how sometimes you don't even know what to say at this point. It's like, okay, so you go to the store and a white person looks at you, and maybe you look at them the wrong way, or they bump you in the checkout line. Are they going to shoot you because now it's just okay? It's like, I'm not afraid of them, but it's like I don't even want to deal with white people unless it's on a professional level at this point.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't, and once again, my son's father, who I love, he's from Virginia. I followed him down here. And it's like, oh, as long as black people just, don't start anything, we're going to be all right. He's dark as tar. And I'd be looking at him like, aren't you afraid? Because I have bonus children. I have 2 older boys, bonus children, and we have our son together. Like, aren't you afraid for them? No, that's people who start in things. Huh? I don't. I have a man in the house, and I still have no covering, where he gets the gist of what's really going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I just don't know. As a female, a black woman, they're kicking our ass too, basically, slowly but surely. Are they going to bust in our houses next and start raping us in the middle of the night? I mean, what the fuck? And this shit is just
Maureen,
out of control, man.
Maureen, stay with me.
Yeah.
I remember the 92 riots, right? Mm-hmm. I remember the 92 riots in L.A. Now, what's crazy is, Rodney King got his motherfucking ass beat, right?
Yeah.
And that just brought hella unrest, right? Motherfuckers was pissed, right? Hella unrest. Yeah. People were heated. Right. And it's whack. Reginald Denny, you got fucked up on Florence and Crenshaw. You got toe up when they yanked him out that truck and bashed him in the head with that brick. We were all witness to that, right? Mm-hmm. But that shit didn't solve nothing. That whole area was burnt out, and all that area was black businesses. That was listen, I'm with Martin Luther King. He says a riot is the voice of the unheard. I got you. I understand that. However, when I ask y'all to stand up and get on these goddamn phone lines, y'all scared. Y'all weak. Y'all don't want your voices heard. I'm asking you to stand up today and tell me what's happening in your hood, in your streets. Y'all scared to get on the phone and holler.
Or they don't know what to say.
But you know what? Say something. Figure it out. Stand up.
God damn.
Go inside. Figure it out. Say something. Because it's not like we haven't replayed this before. We had it in 91. We had it in 65. Don't you know we at the anniversary of 1965? Is that a coincidence that they rioted in Baltimore at the anniversary of the 1965 Watts riots? Y'all not knowing? 50 years?
Then it's April. Yeah.
Come on, Baltimore, D.C., Maryland, stand up. Tell me what's happening in your streets. If CNN is not telling the truth, y'all can call in today and tell me the truth right now. If CNN is only reporting isolated incidents, right, and sensationalizing, some dude told me the street wolves is out clowning out here in Baltimore. Somebody call me and tell me the truth about what's really going on and what we plan on doing. The phone lines are yours right now. The phone lines are yours. You want to talk about it? Get at me right now. That's what I'm saying. Veronica?
844-55-1.
Thank you, Maureen. We appreciate you, hon. Thank you so much for the call. Veronica?
I just think that at some point we are going to have to stop asking permission from the dominant culture to live our lives. Mm-hmm. There is a posture that we are in that says that we have to react, and we have to feel powerless, and we have to, fret and wring our hands. And I think that there is a decision that we have to make. There's a posture that we have to embody that stops asking for permission.
Right. And I'm going to tell you right now, on top of what Veronica just said, Black lives won't matter to anyone until Black unity matters to Black folk.
Yeah.
That's just as real as it's going to get right now. Black unity got to mean something to us before Black lives matter to somebody else. Phone lines are open. Kevin from Baltimore, represent what's happening out there in them streets, bro.
What's up, Kevin?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Hey, Zoe, I appreciate you talking about this, because it's been heavy on my mind, especially since it's really home for me. Yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen, I mean, it just feels like things were to the point where something was gonna happen, it was hitting the fan. And, Baltimore is a place where we don't play no games out here. And I'm not saying that from my point of view, because, I'm blessed to be privileged to grow up, in a good environment. But I don't think things are the way that they're supposed to be. People don't have the same privileges, that they're supposed to have and that they need to have, to be the best people that they can be. The resources are very limited in a place like this. If you don't have access to things like, for example, your show, there's not many people that have resources like this or have the resources to access, a show like this where they can speak their minds and talk.
Right. I always say, man, let me just say this, Kev. I appreciate you for taking the time, man, and answering the call. I appreciate that, because that's part of manhood. That's part of leadership. You answered the call. I appreciate you reaching out to us, and we got to bounce. We got to go to some other callers, but thank you, brother. The number to dial is what, Ashonti?
844-55-1.
Listen to this. Chapter 3 in The Art of War, Strategic Attack, defines the source of strength as unity, not size, and discusses the 5 factors that are needed to succeed in any war. In order of importance, these critical factors: attack, strategy, alliances, army, and cities. See, it's not just, I'm young, dumb, and stupid and just going to go out here and attack a police officer, or I'm going to attack a patrol car, or I'm going to break glass and windows and steal shit. Again, you look like an angry rabble. So where's the leadership? Sharpton can't go down there. Jackson can't go down there. Eric Michael Dyson can't go down there. All of these so-called Black leaders can't go down there. So my point again is, how do we learn to make the respect of ourselves and the unity of ourselves our religion, as opposed to Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all these other isms that we pick up? How come unityism can't be one of our isms? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think we're trying. Honestly, like Occupy Oakland, that was pretty big. That was probably one of the largest gathering with black people. But again, there was no direction. You know what I mean? It was all these people out there, and it's like, okay, well, what are we out here for? You know, so I think we're moving in a good direction. We just have to understand that it's a requirement of us and not celebrate the mediocrity in getting together. Let's get together and let's have a mission.
Right.
I think we're trying though.
Right.
I've studied, I'm the daughter of a Panther, right? So I grew up in the Revolution. I'm the daughter of the Revolution. And so I've studied revolutionary warfare since I was 3. And one of the things that I think we miss and I've studied a lot about revolutions lately, not only political revolutions, but nonviolent revolutions, commercial revolutions. And one of the things that we're often missing is vision. In other words, it's the reason that Occupy, in addition to being infiltrated by the government, it's the reason that they really dispersed and didn't have the impact that they could have had, right, is that there is really a lack of vision. And so when that happens, there's no alignment to a common purpose. We have to all be marching to the same drum beat towards something meaningful. And if we did that, we'd be unstoppable. But we keep just displaying the anger, but there's no alignment and there's no vision.
Well, and some people would say on the other side of the coin, we're trying to get you guys to do that by integrating into the education system, going to school, getting a good education, going to get a good job and doing all of that. But that's integrating or assimilating into a system that has a set place for you. It doesn't have your narrative. You're not the author of the narrative. Again, they got a place for you when they say integrate this way or assimilate this way. I think what Veronica is talking about is a collective unity where we are the author of our own narrative, where we collectively get together and say, this is how we will move outside of any other influence that will put us back in a position of subjugation. Is that correct?
That's true, because, see, if we don't have our own vision, then guess what? We are subject to the vision of someone else.
Wow.
If we don't have our own, we live inside of someone else's. And that's the reality that we're experiencing.
Right.
We are living as consumers and perpetrators and executors of someone else's vision.
Wow. The real revolution is conscious. The real revolution is intellectual. It is. Because that's the real rebellion. When you reject what they said was right for you. When you reject their definition of where you came from. When you reject their definition of education. When you reject their definition of love. When you reject their definition of what it means to be an upright citizen. But you don't have that power. And this is why you feel powerless when you're left out, when you're broken down. Callers, the phone lines are open. Dre from Baltimore, line 5, you're on the line. Holla at me right now.
Yeah, man, I'm calling from Baltimore, man. I'm deeply saddened by what's going on out here, man. I can't, I'm young, so I'm looking at the media, and I really haven't seen on this level how media has betrayed us like this. But they're portraying us like, animals when, anytime, my analogy is like, you can't keep slapping me in my face and telling me to turn the other cheek. It's jacked up out here, and the police is messing up. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And on the topic of unity, with the media betraying us the way they are, we know that's messed up and I know that's wrong, but you got the, and then I don't know if y'all watching, CNN just had the mayor and 4 other black people get on and call everybody out there thugs.
See?
You know, I'm hurt by that. That's
See?
messed up.
They already out there with the propaganda. The propaganda.
Yeah. And then they got this mess talking about the BGS and the Bloods and Crips out to kill police. Nah, they out to protect themselves. They not out here trying to kill no cops. Why you think 3 rival gangs would get together? That mean they really see that y'all really trying to kill us. Really, we need to get together. They trying to get together, and y'all trying to bring some portray them as animals, and you know, show and break that up already. You can see it.
Yeah, I wanna definitely thank you for the call, and just to add to what I was saying earlier, this brother right here, he is a man of 2015, like myself. We're kin to Oscar Grant and Trayvon Martin. We've been hip to what's going on out here for some time now, but like Veronica said, we just need vision. We're hip to it. We just need direction. We need vision.
But the same thing that applies. Like when we hear Veronica say, hey, you lay down with a woman, that's a $2 million decision you're making. Potentially, it's a $2 million investment you're making. And you know how mothers are with regards to fathers. Hey, you help make this. We got to make it happen regardless. We got to do this. Right? We got to raise this kid, right? Look at your community in the same light. We got to do this. We got to raise this kid. What we can't say is try. We can't. Right. Yoda, there's no try. Right. Only do. Do or do not. There is no try. Go ahead, Ashanti.
And then chapter 13 in the Art of War, Intelligence and Espionage focuses on the importance of developing good information sources and specifies the 5 types of intelligence sources and how to best manage each of them. The strong moves quiet. The weak starts riots.
Ooh, damn.
Call in and speak on it, 844-55-1. We especially want to hear from you if you're in the Baltimore, DMV, DC area.
Listen, get to your phone lines right now, 844-55-1. That's the number to dial. This is your podium. This is your soapbox. If you give a damn about your society, if you give a damn about the future of your society, what powers are in effect right now that you have no idea are impacting you in your decision-making process during this breakdown of society? Like what's affecting you right now that's causing you to do this? Call me right now at 844-55-1. 844-55-1. Somebody get at me and let me know what you think about it. Baltimore, DC, somebody call us right now and let us know what's happening. Veronica had something to say. V?
Yeah, you know, I want to, because you know, I've had a pretty crazy career, and one of the things that I did in my career is I did some financial coach training down in all over the country for low income, impoverished areas, and we were in Baltimore, we were in Bon Secours, and we went in there. See, here's the thing that people don't really realize: we went into Bon Secours, which is the hood in Baltimore, and we worked with people that were coming out of welfare, coming out of prison, that were there but ordered by the court, mandatory, didn't have keys to houses, didn't have keys to cars. And we went in there and reconditioned their minds. We reprogrammed their minds, and we changed the lives of people on the ground in that community. I've done it and they did about $100,000 worth of evaluation, and they came, and it was so powerful. They came in and followed me around and said, how did you do that? And then they tried to steal what I gave them. But what I'm saying is, we've done it. I've seen it. We have changed the mindset of people that you would consider have the most challenge in life, and we reprogrammed them, and they stood up and created agency in their lives. So you can't tell me it can't be done, because I've done it.
Wow. Listen, people want to know who the new leaders are, right? People want to know who's going to come with the plan, who's going to come with the new direction for us to go in. It could be you. It should be you. Get on the phone line right now and tell me what we're going to do today. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this is a ritual. This is a ritual. Go get the Joseph Campbell the power of myth. There is in that DVD, The Power of Myth. I want y'all to hear this now. There is in that DVD, The Power of Myth, where they show a marriage ceremony, right? And in the marriage ceremony, they kill the young bride and groom, right? It's a symbol of life. It's a symbol of death. It's a symbol of unity. It's a symbol of love, but it's a ritual. Ask yourself a question. 50-year anniversary of Watts 65. Ask yourself a question. Are we not reenacting a ritual? A ritual of ineptitude. A ritual of the lost. All I can do is kill. All I can do is riot. All I can do is destroy. I don't have no power. Well, guess what? The one thing that would give you power, the one thing that would give you solace is unity, is organization, right? Is education. We live in a culture right now where intellect is the enemy. We still running around speaking broken English. No disrespect to that. Everybody ain't got to speak the best English or the king's English. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is intelligence used to be our way of life. We created it. We created education. We created the mystery schools. Why can't we go back to that? Now, it ain't cool if you're articulate, if you can elocute. Right? It's not cool. You somehow white if you can speak well. Ashonti?
It's not even that it's not cool, in my opinion. It's just we have been labeled otherwise. Example, you're acting black. You're talking black. You're acting white. You're talking white. We have been labeled otherwise.
But a label has to be accepted.
That's true.
We don't have to accept the label. Mm-hmm. The label is accepted. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Let's speak on it. The phone lines are jam-packed. I want everybody to get in here and holler at us about what's happening right now. Sean, South Carolina, line 6. You're on the line. Holler at me.
Hey, Zoe, how you guys doing? This is Sherman from South Carolina.
How you doing?
Got you, man. What's happening?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna give me a second to go rant, but I don't want to hear the words white supremacy anymore because it's up to us. I'm with Veronica on this. We have to unify. We have to reform our ghettos, or what they call ghetto, even though that word was meant for the Jews, because that's where they put the Jews in the ghetto. Mm-hmm. But we have to revamp our neighborhoods. We got to take a stand and say Black Lives Matter to us. Because when these people see black people killing black people in our lives, and they feel like we don't value our own lives, why the fuck would they value, our lives anyway? That's how they feel. Yeah. But anytime you can come in your neighborhood and have to worry about another brother putting something, taking you out, to me, I think that's where we should take our stand, and we should come together. Revamp our hoods. Okay, you want to put us in the ghettos. You want to put us in the lower income neighborhoods. That's fine. We're going to revamp it. We're gonna come together. We're going to pick up trash. We're going to, make our neighborhoods safe for ourselves and for our children. I think that's where our fight should be. And like you said, though, education is important, and not just what their education, but our own true history is important. Mm-hmm. And when we can start there, man, I think that'll be that's where we need to stop to start. And one quick story. When I was a teenager, I went to Baltimore because I had some family members up there, and that place traumatized me because all I saw was black people just tearing up the place, and I was traumatized at first because I was so young, I didn't know anything coming from South Carolina and going up into Baltimore. I was just traumatized by the whole situation. And until I got older, I had a different perspective on it now. But then I was just traumatized by that situation.
Wow, man! I appreciate you hanging on the line and sharing your story. We need to hear the story, man. We need to hear it. Call us right now. Hey, this is a place for you to vent. This is your soapbox. I want to hear what you feel about what's happening out here in these streets. Baltimore is on fire. They turned up right now. But is that the proper course of action? We need to get on it. I got to take a quick break. And when I come back, I'm going back to the phone lines. The number to dial is 844-55-1, 844-55-1. We had a prepared topic for you guys today, but we're watching CNN right now, and the outcry is that we deal with this situation. And I just said, you know what, let me open up my platform for you guys to vent and let it out. If you're in the DMV, Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia, you know, holler at us right now and let us know what's going on your way and report. You're our reporter. We could easily turn on CNN and get the news, but I'd rather get the news from y'all. So hit us up and let us know what's cracking. We'll be back in 2.2. Ladies and gentlemen, I just had to pull some records out of the archive. That's the homeboy truth. You can't get that shit nowhere. It's brand new. It's not available anywhere. The homeboy just emailed it to me today. It's called Fuck Your Breath. We live in an era where the police can get caught on video saying fuck your breath because the dude that's already handcuffed can't breathe. We live in an era, like I said, listen, there's a conspiracy. Whether you want to accept this shit or not, man, I'm going to tell you right now, Rodney King happened, but you didn't hear nothing. And that ain't just because of technology. Yeah, we know there was a fucking police brutality happening, driving while black, profiling, racial profile. All that shit was happening, right? So now we're to believe that this just a hell of a spike out of nowhere where it's almost like as if the cops don't watch TV. Like they don't watch the news. So, okay, this dude is running because of the child support. He gets shot in the back 8 times. Motherfuckers plant the goddamn taser next to him. Okay, that happened after a month. Then a week, a couple of days after that, the other brother gets caught because he see the police coming. He get out and he run. Yes, he's wrong for running. Yeah. No doubt. You shoot a motherfucker in the back while he's down. Oscar Grant got shot in the back while he was handcuffed at the BART station. Right? And we just keep naming these situations. It's almost like the news niggas aren't, or the police officers are not watching the news. Like they are totally oblivious to all of this shit that's going on. Right? I'm telling you, there's a conspiracy to some level. They're trying to ramp up some shit because they know what, with our level of consciousness as a community, what we gonna do. Right? It's always some city. It was Detroit. It was Los Angeles. It was Watts, right? It's always some city that goes, you know, I had a fuck enough. We gonna do something about it. But doing something physically is what they want when their agenda is martial law. When their agenda is, listen close, their agenda is to put bodies in the privately owned prisons. Look up Whacking Hut. Look up CCA. These are all private companies that build private prisons. Guess what private prisons need? They need prisoners. And guess what? I don't give a fuck what you did. You stole a pack of bubblegum, motherfucker. Get your ass in here. We got to meet our quota. Strategy, black people. Sinister Mephisto. Yeah, you can. Let me just make this point. Sinister Mephisto said something that was heavy. He said, black people, all you got to do is look at the Palestinians. The Palestinians' way is to fight back. But that ain't worked. Yeah. That hasn't worked. They've been getting their ass kicked for a long time. That hasn't worked. Israel is in control of the Gaza Strip, period. So stop your bullshit and you should just put your rocks down. There's another way to fight and it's intellectual. Veronica?
I recently had the privilege of interviewing, and I can post the interview actually on your Twitter feed. I had the privilege of interviewing Professor Charles Ogletree, who is he's a professor of law at Harvard, and he was a mentor to Michelle and Barack when they were at Harvard. And he is the leading voice in the reparations movement. He, in America, because understand that there's reparations movements that are gaining steam all over the world. And he talked about how he sued for reparations for Tulsa, right? Because he represented the survivors of Tulsa. He lost because there were, there's ways that people are being a little sneaky about here about how to challenge it. One of the things that he said that is really instructive is that, because I said, what must we do? And one of the things that he said is we've got to get political. We've got to get political. And so I remember back during the time of Ferguson, I had some people that were really behind the scenes and on the streets in Ferguson when it was all going down. And one of the things that I said then and that I'll say now is that if these young brothers want to have justice, a beginning of justice, then they need to register to vote so they can get, because who goes on juries? People that are registered voters. So if you want to convict Darren Wilson, then take your ass down and register to vote so that when his trial comes up, if it comes to trial, you can be there to influence the outcomes. But see, we're apathetic and we don't do that. And it's something simple that we could do, but we're so anti-system that we don't leverage the system that we have and use that against itself.
We want to open these phone lines back up. If you're in the Baltimore, DMV, DC area, really anywhere around the world, go ahead and call in 844-55-1. Right now, we're going to open up the line to Big Rob out in Kansas City. Rob, you're on the line. Rob? All right, we got to move on. Big Rob, call us back. We got Mike in DC on the line. Mike, speak to us.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
What up, man? What's up, Mike? What's happening, Mike? Appreciate hearing from you again, Mike.
You having the topic today, man.
Word up, man.
I'm so glad. I just think I ain't gonna lie to you, though, man. I do not. I think this is a positive act of aggression for our people, man. 'Cause I think it's time to let our people know that this system is not built for you. You know what I'm saying? And I think. And it's funny how they always say, what's the word I'm looking for? They always say, this is the, what's the word I'm looking for?
Come on, Mike, hurry up, man.
One nation under God, but when stuff like this always happens, like, where is the nation? It's kind of like now it seems like it's the corrupt, militarized police force versus black people in the black community. You know what I mean?
Nah, hey, listen, I totally get what you're saying, but I would also add this. Veronica said something about utilizing the system.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Right?
I wish she could say it again.
Here's the thing. The most violent form of aggression is not physical. It is psychological. It is mental. We can't live with the double standard. You'll see people, pro-black folk and people who are espousing to be leaders say they took the chains off our bodies and put them on where? Our minds. So if that's the ultimate slavery, then the ultimate freedom would be intellectual revolution. I renounce all you hold as the truth. Everything you said was true. Everything you said was the right thing to do. I renounce it all and remake it and rewrite it in my image for my agenda. Now, that's a revolutionary act, right? Ask yourself a question.
I agree.
If you were born in fucking Saudi Arabia, what would be your religion? You'd be fucking Muslim. You'd be Muslim. If you were born in Iraq or Iran, you'd probably be Muslim, but you'd probably be Shiite. Shia, right? If you were born in Saudi Arabia, you're probably going to be Sunni, right? So now, who gave you the narrative? Who gave it to you? And once you start renouncing the narrative, once you start renouncing everything that they said was normal, everything that they said was good for you, and then you start reading it with an open, clear, objective mind. Listen, you have no idea. I got a son getting ready to go to the University of Auburn. I done had at least 300 family members call and say, now you need to teach him how to act because them white folk down there, everything about us is acquiescence. Everything about us is coping. Right? Hey, you better be careful of what you say because, you know, you go down there, them Southern folk are different. He a new kind of brother. You know, if he stand up too much, if he stand too straight. Tell me our elders aren't giving us those type of instructions on how to interface with the dominant culture. Tell me that's not happening.
I agree. Can I say one more thing, though?
Yeah.
Hey, I just think this is a sign for us as people. We need to, like you was talking about earlier, like we need to find a new Messiah. I think like we don't see the black bourgeoisies or we don't see preachers outside trying to diplomat the people. Like, so I just think our new Messiah should just be black group economics. It should be black organization and black cooperation.
No. Come, hey, Mike, let's go deeper. We should have an army of messiahs. You want revolution, dude? We should have an army of messiahs, not one. So when one gets cut down, he is immediately replaced by another royal messiah. Do you understand what revolution actually means?
I agree.
Listen, brother, let me just say, man, thank you, man, for reaching out, man. I appreciate you for calling. Every week you show support, and I appreciate it. I seriously appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Like I said, man, you my life coach mentor, man. If it wasn't for you, though, I don't know where I'd be, man.
Thank you, brother. That's a compliment, man, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you for calling, and
y'all take it easy.
We'll get back on it next week with another relationship. This is why we do relationship topics up in here. Because one of my favorite philosophers, I love him to death, Krishnamurti, says it the best. Everything about life is to be related. Relationship, to be related. Relationship is at the core of our very being. It's how we live. It's how we interface. It's how we love. It's intimacy. It's understanding. It's how we see ourselves. So if our relationships with each other as a community ain't shit, how will the rest of the world relate to us? Right? It's a hurtful situation to live. And this is why I pose another radical concept. Fuck the adults in our community. And let's go right to the kids. Because it's the adults that are set like stone that want to hold on to these bullshit, bootlicking, acquiescent styles of how to deal with shit. We need the youth to come in and say, nah, it's a new way. But it can't be a violent way that's reenacting a ritual of voicelessness. Martin Luther King, a riot is the voice of the voiceless, of the powerless. It's the voice of the powerless. It's a ritual of powerlessness. Do you understand what I'm saying? Get to your phone lines right now, 844-55-1.
Can we take some more callers?
Sure.
Let's try Big Rob. He's on line 3. Is he still there? Kansas City? All right, we got to scratch him. How about Motto, line 5 in Atlanta? Mondo.
That's
are you on the
Mundo.
line?
That's Mundo.
Oh, that's Mundo.
Mundo Profundo.
So,
what up, bro?
Check, man, everything blessed, man. Everything, even under all these turmoils, man, everything blessed. Because I think there's a lesson in everything. And I think the one you just talking about relationships, and correct me if I'm wrong, but relationships is common agenda and communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the basis of any relationship. Common agenda and communication. The reason why they take our arts, like our hip hop. That's our code. That's like, I heard you talking about being eloquent and being loquacious, but we also, every black person in America is a functioning bilingual, because we talk to the system one way and we talk to each other another way.
I love it. Yes.
And that was the same thing during that Underground Railroad. We used to sing "Wade in the Water." They didn't know what we were talking about. They didn't know that this was the code to, all right, when you run, you got to stay close to the water. See, that's why they bought our hip hop and threw our money at our hip hop, because right now that could be the code. That could be the one to tell us, hey, stop, go. We don't need a leader. We just need a code that everybody with a common agenda and a common form of communication has.
Wow. Man, I appreciate that. Mundo profundo. Back in the voice of reason, man. We appreciate every time you open your mouth and speak, brother, because it's always heavy. It's always real. It's always truthful. And I appreciate you for calling in and letting us know how you feel about the situation.
Man, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep going hard, man.
For sure, man. I'll holler at you Wednesday. All right, brother. So, again, the phone lines are open. 844-55-1. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear solutions. I want to hear ideas. I want to hear concepts. I don't care how silly you think it is. I want to hear constructive, objective, thoughtful, intelligent ideas about how we can become a better people, how we could be more respected in the world, how we can learn to respect ourselves at a higher rate, how we can raise our collective self-esteem and self-worth. Because I'm telling you, an abused people outwardly is an abused people inwardly. And an abused people inwardly, it starts from the self first. What aspect of yourself is abusing yourself that is now working as a magnet that draws this kind of experience to us? We've got to break the shackles. 844-55-1. Veronica?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I think we really have got to examine as a community is, and this is going to sound a little radical, it shouldn't, but that's how crazy we've been driven, is our loss of our indigenous spiritual practices.
Right.
You got to remember that the Haitian Revolution was backed up by African spirituality. You got to remember that Cuba is a huge practice of African spirituality.
Speak on it.
And the indigenous spiritualities. And so those spiritualities combined with warfare were actually the things that got, the tools that got it done.
Right.
But we're so tripped out by things that are from us, right, in favor of some other god that we're chasing, whether it's money or pussy or whatever, or hip hop or whatever it is that we have that we're being distracted by. We have got to kind of go back to home. We've got to go back home with the things that are of our nature, because those are the things that work for our people.
Wow. This is big. Ashonti.
Call in 844-55-1. Definitely want to hear from the Baltimore, DMV, DC area, but we want all of the Voice of Reason callers to call in. 844-55-1.
Yeah, it's important. We want to hear from you. I think we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we got the phone lines. They cooking right now. Just get at us. We're going to make space for you. We want to hear from you. This is your soapbox. We want to hear from you. We'll be back in 2.2 seconds.
And we're back at the Dash Studio on the Voice of Reason discussing Freddie Gray. We definitely want to hear from you guys. The phone lines are blowing up. Baltimore, DMV, DC, stand up. 844-55-1.
So, what's crazy? On Twitter's been on fire. I'm a little pissed off about Twitter, though, because everybody could tweet, but it's a free phone call. 844-55-1. I want to hear your voices. I mean, in the first hour of the show, I've had over 300 tweets, right? Listen, just call us. I want to hear from y'all. I'd rather hear your voice than read your tweets, even though the tweets are interesting. At 95 Gert, he was like, what we going to use for money? Let me just tell y'all, paper money is fiat currency. in the history of fiat currency or paper money, every single fiat currency has failed. Every single one. And America's greenback is no different. If you don't understand what's going on with the dollar, then like that's what I'm saying. It's like you're only living at a certain level of consciousness. Oh, let me just make sure I go to work. Damn, I'm living to make it to the weekend. Oh, the weekend was too short. Damn, I hate Mondays. Oh, wow, this year went by fast. Oh, I'm late on this bill. I'm late on this mortgage. Do you understand what I'm saying? We just live a mundane surface existence, not really knowing what the fuck is going on in the world. Like, what we gonna do about money? Well, while there's still fiat money to fuck with, why shouldn't we recycle it? How about that? While there's still useless paper coupons that motherfuckers are exchanging for goods, why can't we copy our Jewish brothers who don't let that dollar leave their fucking pocket until it's circulated from pocket to pocket in their neighborhoods over 18 times? The shit circulates one time, less than 2 times in our community, and then it's to BMW. Oh, that's no bullshit. BMW does no outreach for the African-American community. Absolutely none. But it's the #1 purchased vehicle by Negroes. The #1 purchased vehicle by black people is BMW. But those motherfuckers from Germany do no work in the hood. Is it too difficult to fucking do some research and say, let me see who's doing work in the hood before I spend money with them? Is that too hard? Well, no, nigga. You know what BMW stands for with a nigga driving it? It's a status symbol. It means I've arrived. What the fuck? I have a German chariot under my ass. Heka activated. Holler at me. She just joined. Holler at me, Heka.
Oh, my. Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, Heka.
I'm sorry I had to change the topic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, I think I've been living in a bubble over here for the last several days, and I had no idea that any of this was going on, and it's kind of embarrassing, but I've disconnected from social media, the news, everything, so this is really sad. It's really sad, but the real funny thing to me is that about this whole situation is that it has completely taken the focus off the victim, and now everybody's talking about all the rioting that's going on. So I have to ask the question, will there really truly be justice for the victim that suffered a senseless death by the police officers?
Hell no.
What happens?
You know they not.
I mean, because now everybody's energy is focusing on the rioters, and you know how the black guys are being called thugs, and now the whole shift has taken place in this whole incident, which it always does. And now, because the shift has taken place in this incident to the black thugs, then we're no longer focused on the police officers that did this senseless crime.
Because you bring up such a great point. Listen, they broke the dude's leg. They put him in the car. What happened on the way? Because once he got to wherever he was going, he was fucked up. Once he got to the hospital, he was fucked up. Spinal injury. What happened on the way? We can't have that conversation while we're fucking rioting. See,
right.
You put their fucking feet to the fire when you make them look immature. When you make them look as stupid as they are. The flaws in the system. You can't question the ineptitude of the system or the weakness or the cracks in its armor if you're acting like a fucking rabid animal. Yes, I'm just as mad as you are. But if you're acting ignorant, that's justification to ignore you further. Veronica, does that make any sense? I'm not always right. So I'm rarely right, as a matter of fact.
Really clear. Let's just be really clear. These folks are not afraid of us. These police are on orders. They answer to their superiors. It's a military organization.
So, you know, if somebody came out, if somebody of any authority and power came out and said, police, y'all got to act right, guess what? They would. So, and they're not. So that tells you everything that you need to know and understand about the fact that this is being allowed to happen. And so if we have any sense at all, we would take a look at that and quit reacting to, like how many times are we going to be outraged before we actually mobilize? How many times?
Man.
Are we going to pretend like it's just like it happened for the first time yesterday? There's a pattern, there's a trend, and so I just think at some point we have to make a decision as a community about what we're going to do with and through each other.
You know what's crazy? You're a black cop, and you're ordered to defend the city against the rebel rousers. How do you feel? You got to do your job. You got to follow orders. You got to follow instructions. You got to. But let me ask, would it be too much to ask if every black cop in America protested just one day, everybody all at the same time, let's protest. We all walking out of work today as a sign of solidarity for our people because too many young brothers in the street just get killed. Just one day, every black cop across the country, would they fire you all? Would they just say, all of you guys don't come back to work because you showed a sign of solidarity? The biosurvival checks or the financial fuel in the body of money means more to you than standing together, right? For all of the injustices that have gone down in the system you work for. If you sit down and have a conversation with a black cop, you cannot tell me they don't have numerous instances of racial profiling, of excessive force, of harassment. You cannot tell me black police officers have not witnessed it. And if they've witnessed it, why are they still silent? Ashonti?
Can I just speak on that? I dated a police officer in Miami, and he always sided with the other police officers in terms of their actions and thoughts when it came to these black victims. And I think the fraternity of being a part of the Blue Squad is stronger than the
blue
unity.
Over black. Yeah. Blue over black.
For sure.
Blue over black. Those are the real Crips, right? Mm-hmm. The police, the boys in blue. Those are the real Crips. I'm just saying. Listen, we've got Richard. Oh, go ahead, Veronica.
I was going to say real quick, I just talked to a cop who works in internal affairs, actually. So I'm like, great. So that means you're investigating your crew, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, but in the communication with him, it was really apparent that he sided with the cops. Remember, it's a fraternal order of police. Right, my daddy was a Panther, so and he was convicted of the murder of a park ranger. So he's up against a fraternal order of police. It's 312,000 cops. When my dad was due to get released years ago, the Fraternal Order of Police lobbied Alberto Gonzalez, the U.S. Attorney General, to prevent my father's release. It is a serious gang. It's an armed gang, and they are the most powerful, one of the most powerful lobbies in the United States, because my daddy's gone up against them. So I've seen the inner workings of all of that, and it's a serious gang.
Wow.
It really is.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm gonna go to Heka real quick. Heka, you got a thought on this, and then I'm gonna get to the callers.
Yeah, I will agree with Veronica and Ashonti. I know police officers. I know several of them. I have them in my family, and they're all black, of course, but they all side with the police force every single time.
Because all these black boys are wrong. All these black boys are wrong, right? they're all wrong.
They always say, well, this is what you have to do, or, you know, they shouldn't have resisted arrest. Or, It's almost as if when they go into the police force, they inject them with some type of energy that says everybody is together in here, regardless of whether we're right or wrong.
Well, guess what? What about public oversight? Hey, let's have a public council where you reveal the records of your new police officers. The ones that just came back from the Army. Are any of them suffering from PTSD? And if that's the case, does that impair their ability to police the neighborhood? I remember when I was a little kid, we had police officers at the school, and those police officers at the school were always cool. Officer Rodney was one of the homies at the school. If you was getting into some shit, you didn't fear Officer Rodney. You could go to Officer Rodney and be like, yo, man, this is what's happening. I might have to fight this nigga at this school. Listen, you ain't gonna fight because you on the basketball team. You got something going for yourself. And then I'm gonna take you over to the guidance counselor, right? And it was all cool. It was all cool. You understand what I'm saying? It's a different kind of police officer out there right now. You got some people coming back from the war, soldiers coming back from the war that skip basic training because of their military grade training. But what about the psych tests? This is what's out on the street right now. You trying to tell me this shit ain't by design? On top of that, the police departments all over the country are over militarized by getting military, military grade weapons and all of this stuff from fucking the Pentagon. Come on, man. Stop playing. Phone lines are hot. Richard, Massachusetts, line 3. Holla at us.
Hey, what's up, Zoe? Veronica,
what's up, man?
How's everybody doing? Yeah, you know what? You're right. And I told you a few days ago, man, the people were ready on Twitter.
That's you.
You know, basically,
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's all about design. Like, if you look in South Africa today, there's xenophobia going on. You have blacks killing other blacks. Ethiopian immigrants are getting killed just for the simple fact that they're starting businesses in South Africa. So I agree, it's by design. And in this country, as a black person, especially a black male, if you've noticed, everyone that's killed, they're always being portrayed as a thug. They have like a thug image, and they're being shot down like animals. So I think as a people, we have to really stop idolizing the Rick Rosses, Nicki Minaj's, and really take a step back and really reevaluate what we have to do to move forward in this country, especially in this country.
Instead of being a court gesture, you should be a court master. Being able to master the laws instead of just being an entertainer. That's what a court jester is, an entertainer.
Yeah.
And when you look at our leadership is comprised of entertainers. Those are the ones with the most influence. You get the book Conversations with God. It says you can tell the level of intellect in a society by what entertains them.
Yes.
Monica Lewinsky just did an entire TED Talk about how our whole media infrastructure is designed off of shame and sensationalism. Wherever there's an opportunity for somebody to be shamed, we're drawn to it. Every time shit start making too much sense, or shit is too heavy, or shit is too smart, motherfuckers disconnect. And then when you up against the fire, what we gonna do? Your ass shouldn't have ran to the Housewives of Atlanta, and you should have watched some shit that had some meaning. Maybe you'd have a better psychological or intellectual approach to the situation if you watched something that was worth more than some fucking Louboutin shoes. I'm just saying.
I'm still trying to get me a pair of those.
Okay, cut her mic off. Goddamn it. That was the first mic cut. We were having a great time, and then that shit. Jesus Christ. Jackie from New York, you're on the line, line 5.
Hey, Zoe, it's Jackie Mack. How are you guys?
What up, Jackie Mack? All up on Twitter gang banging. I see you.
Hey, I just wanted to say this. I'm 35 years old, and it wasn't until about 5 years ago that I was challenged to think beyond what I had been told all my life. I had to, evolve into who I am right now. From church, religion, societal norms, family, etc. It was always just one way, and ultimately I had to gravitate towards people who had something different to say, people that were considered radical, and the things that they were saying were radical, but I wanted to hear it, but I was always told, oh, well, they don't know what they're talking about, or you weren't raised like them. But, anyway, I said all that to say that you brought up the fact that this is the year, that this is the anniversary of the 1965 Watts riot. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking about, looking at what we did then and looking at what we're doing now. And it's the same shit that's getting us looked at the same way. We're getting absolutely nowhere. So, yeah, I do agree that a mental revolution in the black community is absolutely necessary. And it starts with each individual.
Man, you make me think you listen to the show, boo thing. I appreciate that.
I love you guys.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that for real.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
Man.
Can I speak to something here?
Veronica, always.
Yeah. There's a colleague of mine who, Maggie Anderson, who formed a thing called the Empowerment Experiment, which she just bought Black for a year. And you can go to maggieslift.com. She's about to do an app that is Black focused about how to, so maggieslift.com, she's got an app coming out that teaches you where to buy Black. One of the things that, I ran into her once. I was speaking at the National Urban League National Conference, and she was speaking there too. And I ran into her, and I said, God bless you for doing such powerful, important work for the Black community. Like taking a year and researching what it means to buy Black and going on television on CNN and getting death threats because folks are like, why does it got to be Black, right? She burst into tears because she was so profoundly unsupported by Black people.
Wow.
And so I want to say this to everybody that's listening. When folks are out here, doing, George Frazier's doing the Frazier Net Power Networking Conference. Maggie Anderson's doing that. Zoe's doing his stuff. You got to understand that folks that have chosen to dedicate their lives to serving the Black community often struggle and suffer. They have economic challenges, all kinds of stuff, because Black folks will support anything but its own.
Wow.
And so she was in tears and ready to give up, even though she's doing some of the most powerful work, and she is sacrificing her time and her energy and her intelligence and her intellect, all for Black people. And I think it's time the Black people got to get the price that Black leaders pay to be Black leaders and begin to support them, because otherwise you get beautiful, brilliant people, the next Malcolm, but we can't get support because everybody sits around talking about, well, I don't understand because they make money at that. And, well, fuck that. Like, at some point, we have to wake up and understand that all that people do to serve the Black community is mostly a sacrifice.
And, they don't give but our people don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. I was just talking to my 8th grader, my son. I said, dude, I come to your school, I bang on the teachers, I bang on the principal. They change your grade because I proved to them that the teacher that was teaching you was inept. This motherfucker was in there teaching the wrong math. Didn't know what the fuck the correct answer was right in my presence. There were other students in there saying, no, that's not what that is. No. That's $1 million. No, that's $1 billion. No, that's $1 million. And she redid the math, did it again, and got it wrong again. And then she finally came to me in the back and was like, oh, how you doing, Mr. Williams? Glad to have you here, and blah, blah, blah. I said, you do know that that's $1 billion. Any number followed by 9 zeros is $1 billion. $1 million is 6 zeros. Oh. So you're going to give my son an F when you can't count? The fuck?
Interesting.
So now my son, because of, whatever his issues are, he lazy, he's unmotivated. I'm saying, dude, I banged for you. And you act like that don't matter. I said, you owe it to your mom and your father for banging for you. You owe it to us, because there are other kids out there that these teachers automatically write off when they're not properly supported like that. So when you take that support and be like, oh, whatever, I can be laid, I don't have to turn in this little slip. I said, it's disrespectful to us. And that's what we do as a people collectively.
And then black leaders give up because it's exhausting. Because it's exhausting. It is exhausting to fight the fight on behalf of people that really don't really give a shit.
Listen,
it is.
You don't have.
I've been behind the scenes, up and down the ladder with everybody in the Afrostocracy. I've seen behind the curtains on all of it. And I'm telling you that many people brilliant, talented people end up giving up the fight because they're not supported by their own. And I just think it's time for us to grow the fuck up.
And I'm going to tell you right now, if it wasn't for fucking Veronica, I'm telling you, I would have quit this shit a while ago. Veronica on some passing comet type shit. You know how the comet passes the planet? You go, hey, look at that shit. Veronica was just on some passing comet type shit and left a fucking Facebook message. Hey, brother, you a coach? I'm following you. I see what you're doing. This shit is interesting, blah, blah, blah. If I wouldn't have connected with Veronica, I promise you, I was about done with this shit. And I was done with this shit before. In the 90s, when I was a music executive, A&R person for Madonna, I was also teaching a comparative religious studies course on Sundays. I had my own bookstore and fucking ATM machine. I had a consortium of people in the neighborhood working with us. We owned an ATM machine. We owned a pager company. We owned a bookstore. We had clothes in that motherfucker. But niggas was together on some dumb shit. Bickering and fighting and arguing. So I disbanded the whole shit. You know how I disbanded it? Let me tell you, it was jam-packed. MC Ren from NWA, Pasta Noose from De La Soul, all these fools would come to a little bitty shop in Altadena, California to hear me teach this shit. And you know what disbanded it? Competition, ego, bickering, fighting, jealousy, all types of bullshit was going on. And then I said, watch this experiment. I'm going to come to the shop on a Sunday and I'm going to say, if there's anything in here that you want for free, you guys can have it. Do you know the motherfuckers cleaned out the entire store of everything?
Of course.
But it was months and months, almost a year and a half of them not purchasing anything. As if they weren't even interested in it. But the moment I said you can have it for free, they took it. All of it. The store was barren.
Wow.
And then I closed the store and they fucking cried and begged me to start it again. If niggas set it up for the nigga Jesus to be killed, why would I cast myself in that role again so you could hand me over again? No disrespect. I'm not Jesus. That's not, it's the metaphor, right? It's all right if you sacrifice yourself, nigga. Just long as I get something. This is why we ain't shit as a people, I'm telling you. Who disagrees? Somebody call me right now, 844-55-1.
Well,
phone lines is cracking. Veronica, you got a quick statement?
No, I mean, I love what you're saying, and I'm glad that we're addressing sort of some of the underlying issues here, because I think that if we're going to in any way organize collectively, then we have to really understand the impact of our behavior. We have to understand the impact of our behavior on each other. You know, we don't exist in a vacuum in our community. And so, you know, and I think we have to also understand that if we're not organized internally, we will never be organized externally as a group, collectively. Because, most of the time, listen, I talk to people all over the world, Black people all over the world every day. I talk on the phone all day, every day when I'm not running my mouth here and talking smack here. And let me tell you, most people are terrified of everything. And so, right, they're when it really boils down to it, we're terrified. We have been terrorized. And so I get to hear up close and personal the fear that we exist in on a day-to-day basis. And if we don't cop to that at some point, if we don't tell the truth about that at some point, then we will continue to live in that condition, and they will continue to come and give us more reasons to be terrified.
Heka activated. Talk to me about this situation, and then we're getting right to these callers.
Okay, I just think that your cousins are good at one thing.
My cousins.
They're the best at it. Your cousins, absolutely. They're good at one thing, and they're the best at it, and that is showing you how not to love them.
Ooh.
They have that shit down pat.
Fuck.
They have it down pat.
Yikes.
They show their ass so good with the spirit of excellence.
Yes, they do.
But I wanted to say another thing really quick. That book, that series of books, Conversations with God, I was just thinking about that today. It's funny you mentioned it, because I was just thinking about it today. And that series of books literally changed my life, like seriously. So I would tell people, who was it? Donald Neil Wash, I think it was? Neil Donald Wash, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
He wrote that series of books, Conversations with God. And if anybody's listening to me and they have the opportunity to get that series and read it, it will literally change your life.
Wow.
Seriously.
Good stuff. Phone lines are open. We got Sam from Houston, line 6. Holler at me right now, Sam.
Yeah, what's going on? Very good show today. Well, I think one of the solutions is pretty much those individuals who were able to, first, I'm thinking like I'm kind of scatterbrained right now. I wasn't expecting to get through, but it's hard to be in this society and then also talk about mental revolution when we don't really own any land property where we can go to and cleanse our minds of this bullshit that's been ingested in us. Because once we're able to do that, we'll be able to come back into this society as rightly educated and be able to defend, get our rights and so forth and so on. That's all I had to say.
Absolutely.
Wow. Hey,
Thank
man,
you
I
for calling
appreciate
in.
it, man. Thank you so much. Andre, New York. City so nice they had to name it twice. Holla at me.
New York.
Hey, what's going on, people? How y'all doing tonight?
We all right, brother.
All right, well, it's, 10 o'clock or something over here. I know it's 5 or 6 something up there. This whole ordeal with Baltimore, man, it's definitely troubling. It's definitely troubling. I think what bothers me, I see this and, a whole bunch of thoughts just run through my mind. But I was just listening to Dr. Umar Johnson, and he was talking about how, he's been on this road to build the school specifically for our young boys and our young girls.
He needed $5 million.
To bring them up.
He needed $5 million.
He actually brought it. Yeah, he actually brought it down to $2 million. He found a new deal where he could get it for $2 million to lock it in. And since May of last year, he still has only made it up to $260,000.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, let me say this, Dre.
I think about my family.
Andre,
yes.
Let me say this real quick, because you're so right now. Do you know how much money black people are going to spend this year alone?
Yeah, I've been listening to you, man. 1.1 trillion, man.
1.5 trillion.
Damn.
The 5 is 500. The 5 is 500 billion. 1.5 trillion. And that dollar recycles itself 1.1, 1.2 times before it leaves our pocket. Come on now. Come on. It's not like we don't have the resources. We could have bought that school 10 times. We could have bought that school in Oakland. We could have bought that school in Compton. We could have bought that school in Chicago. We could have bought it in Cincinnati. We could have bought it in Tennessee. We could have bought it in ATL. We could have bought it in South Carolina, Houston, New York. We could have did it all over the place with that kind of bread. Am I right?
Definitely, and I definitely agree with what you said about getting to the youth. Like Frederick Douglass said, man, it's easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. You know, and it's just, I mean, honestly, the way I'm seeing it right now, it's going to continue. This is not it. It's going to continue. Whether it's in Baltimore somewhere, whether it's in some other nondescript city that we don't really speak of, or if it's one of the major cities, it could be right next door to me. You know, it's going to keep happening. And, you know, there is, you know, somewhat of a movement of consciousness going through the people, and it may not be happening fast enough. But I was just telling my lady, you know, maintaining peace is not a peaceful process. You might have to do some ugly stuff to maintain that peace, but you know when you have it. And right now, we don't really have it. We have a false sense of it, but we don't really have the peace that we're looking for.
Word up.
It's not in monetary things. You know, we're not in
Word
control.
up.
We're not in totally control. Maybe me as an individual, I may be in control of my actual home, but, you know, I can't really depend on the community to come through for me like I would for the community, not right now.
Word.
You know, it's only a select few that I would, you know, entrust with that responsibility. But, you know, it's moving. It's not moving fast enough, but, you know, making sure that we, you know, there's no wrong, you know, whether it's violent, whether it's political, whether it's economic, there is no wrong answer because they've been attacking us from so many different directions that we just can't focus on one direction when we're trying to fight back.
Hey, man, I appreciate the call. Thank you for bringing New York in the building. You brought your city in. This shit is heartbreaking because Red Titan, Missouri, you're on the line. Line 5.
What's going on, Zoe? Everybody?
How you doing?
It is sad. I mean, it's one of those things. I'll take it a step further with the youth movement. How many people actually that you know, actually volunteer and work with kids?
Wow. I did. I have.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad because I did a lot of youth work just throughout my years. And, I mean, hell, I had a daycare when I was 21. I owned my own daycare.
Wow.
And it was one of those things, like, to see these kids have something positive in their life. You know, a lot of people might not agree with my lifestyle, but the thing about it is I always put kids first. And the thing that really bothers me is a lot of these parents, they don't even show up to kids' events, things of that nature. You have a few, but if we're not supporting our own children, and, you know, they grow up to be adults who pretty much have the mentality of, you know, they don't give a fuck about me, I'm going to do what I got to do. You know, so it's no thing for, you know, one brother to take one brother out, and the next thing you know, the cycle just keeps on and continues.
Right.
I run into kids that I had in my daycare when I was in my early 20s, and these kids are grown. Most of them have gone on to college, and they still remember, you know, movie time and juice boxes, and you know, it's like, wow, you know, you're making me feel old, but it's one of those things. It's like they remember that. They remember the positive thing.
Man,
you know,
so
I
right.
did a lot of volunteer work with Big Brother, Big Sister. So it's one of those things. It's like people always talk about what they would do for kids, and my thing is, if you ain't actually out there doing it, you just really need to shut the fuck up.
Man, I'm so with you right now. I appreciate that. That was the real. That was straight from the cuff, straight from the shoulder. I appreciate it. Let me tell you something.
Red Titan.
Let me just tell you something. Red Titan in the building. In 2006, I was a mentor for L.A. Bridges at one of the worst. You already knew, my engineer's like, L.A. Bridges, I know what that is, right? Dude, I was at one of the worst schools in Southern California, Los Angeles, South Central area. The damn school was surrounded by a territory that was divided up amongst 72 different gangs. You understand me? Parents coming to me, mostly single mothers, coming to me. Listen, Mr. Williams, I've never seen my son respond to school the way he does since you got here. If you need to take him behind the bungalow and slap box his ass up, please do so. Because you the closest thing to a daddy this dude got. And your impact on him is changing how he get down. Some of them I lost. There was this one little Leo nigga.
One little Leo nigga?
Yeah, he was a Leo, and the motherfucker shined. Have you ever seen one of them little personalities that's just like, bing, I'm the leader, I'm not trying, they just follow. Right? He just it was a swag on his little ass. He was powerful. I was like, oh, that little motherfucker, I gotta get to him. I got all of them. Right? And he was only 13, but he was a leader. He had done shit. He had done dirt. And the motherfucker was wise. He was an old little soul, and he was watching me. He was like, I know, nigga, this nigga right here, he ain't no teacher like the rest of these motherfuckers. He peeping me. His name was Leon the Leo, right? And it took me about a month. That motherfucker started hanging with me. Then he started confiding in me. And then I lost him. His mama came to me and was like, I know you work here, but is there any way you can come to the crib? I ain't seen him in days. You understand what I'm saying? I had a girlfriend at the time. She was great at math. I'm horrible at math, but she was great. So I had her come, and then she became the math tutor. And I was like this motivational guy, right? Building these kids up, giving them something to think about, giving them a future, doing the same shit I'm doing on the radio right now. I was doing that in their lives. There's this one girl, her name is Precious. And I know it sounds stereotypical. She's a big girl. Her name was Precious. And when I tell you, Precious calls me every day to this day. Precious is married. I was there when she was a fucking senior in high school. And she tells me, man, I don't know what the fuck or who the fuck I'd be if it wasn't for that time I spent with you. She said, I got a daddy. I got a mama. My daddy work at the school. My mama's a good Christian going. Every time she called me, I need you to do a lecture at my church. I'm right there. She grown now. She's like 25. You understand? Listen, if we not doing that kind of work, if you not policing your block, I police my block. I live in Inglewood. I police my block. The little nigga that's leading the little niggas on my block, I call him Capo. Hey, Captain, come here. Let me holler at you. Fuck is you doing? What's your exit strategy? You just gonna be gangbanging the whole time? When you out? When you getting out of this situation? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because as you go, so go the rest of your crew, nigga. Every time he see me, oh, there's love, that's Pops. That's what we call it. There go Pops. If you not the Pops of your block, you wasting your fucking life. Because these kids out here need you in these streets. It's just that real. I'm sorry for the filibuster. Jay from Baltimore, report in and let us know what's happening. Line 1.
Zoe, big time fan, listening to you for a long time. I wanted to call you and talk to you about what happened at the protest on Saturday, because I don't know if you guys are hearing it out there on the West Coast, but it was a peaceful protest until they got down to where the Orioles play at Camden Yards. When they came around, those are folks, drinking, having a good time, white people, they started calling them all kinds of niggas. That's when the shit broke out. So all you see when you see on the youth or the kids bashing stuff or they or destructing things downtown, this is Saturday, it was because of that. It was a peaceful protest all the way up until that moment. And then that's when all hell broke loose.
Wow.
Fast forward. But you would never hit it on the media,
Right.
So if you fast forward to today, schools get out 3:30, okay? The mall that they show on TV of them looting, the youth came together and wanted to do a rally for themselves. They wanted to march from Mondawmin Mall downtown. When they get to Mondawmin, which is a subway hub, they're greeted with cops in riot gear. That's only adding fuel to the fire, if you know what I mean. So now you have it today. Everybody know how Baltimore is. I'm pretty sure you know The Wire. You watch The Wire?
I've been to Baltimore, homeboy. I know what that is. I've been there.
Man, listen, I'm born and raised in Baltimore. I'm outside in the county, but I know how it is. My parents were on my ass because they know how those streets can capture you. In the hood, it's only one way out. You either sell drugs or you in jail. My parents knew that. So now, fast forward to today's youth who are bamboozled by TV, social media, and world star hip-hop. They don't know any other way of how to act. And then you got the governor on TV who's withdrawing $85 million from all the schools in the state of Maryland.
Wow. Yeah. While you're at it, take out all the motherfucking instruments too. We don't want no music happening either. Let's just do all of that too.
My wife is a teacher here in Maryland. Milk and Award winner teacher. And that's a recognition all over the United States. They came to seek her out because of her accolades of how good she is with kids. She still has kids emailing her to this day. I just want to thank you because if it wasn't for you teaching me, I don't know where I would be.
Damn.
You know? So you look at Baltimore now, you see it's on fire. Hell has broke loose, but it's the youth. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's the youth.
And I'll tell you what.
Those kids are frustrated. I've been a victim of police racism and profiling. I've had a cop put his gun in my face, had me laying on the ground because I was in the wrong neighborhood in the wrong skin color.
Wow.
So I've been there, you know?
Wow.
So
listen, man.
To see this on the news, I'm not surprised. You don't see the mayor. You just seen the mayor at 7:45. You don't see those preachers that want different change. You don't see them out there in the battlefield today.
No, you'll see them out there later. You'll see them out there later. They're on the payroll. You'll see them. But listen, man, let me just say, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Thank you.
You keep doing your thing. I'll be listening to you on the 5150 show tomorrow.
Word up. I appreciate it. Who is this? Dominique from Sacramento. We all over the states right now. We all over the country. Holla at me, Dom.
Hey, man, what's up, man? You know, I've been listening to you for a while. You know, I follow you like my mentor. But what made me call the show is because when you said about of our dollars 1.5 trillion or something like that.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking because we don't you know, African black people, we're not a group. Like we don't do things groupally. It's like everything is on your own. Like I got to get this on my own. Like, because if you come down to Sacramento, you see Asians, like they'll have the whole block. You know, the whole block as one whole mini China. Like they'll because they come together as one. You know, but when it's like for me, like you know, I can't go to my friends, you know, and be like, hey, I got a plan. We got to do this. We got to do this because they like I got to think about my friends, my kids, this and that. But like we got people like you in your group. Like you got to show, like you start good things, say good things. You know, it's positive. But every time we come as a group, it's always something negative. Like, I'm not all the time, but like when you think about it out here in Sac, it's like always negative when we come into a group. It's something. It's like a slideshow or a gang or a fight or something. It's just,
wow.
Like, you know, that just got me thinking. Like, it's crazy how that goes out here. You know? So that's all I wanted to say, to be honest.
Man, thank you for the call, brother. I appreciate you for hanging on the line. Let me just say, man, education, right? We talk about education all the time. You know, that's the default. That's Bill Cosby. That's Stephen A. Smith. That's Charles Barkley. That's everybody. Education, education, right? Listen, there's a school here in Southern California, Los Angeles, called the Marcus Garvey School. It's a private school. and it's owned by black people. The curriculum is controlled by black people, and the kids are super genius to the point where they've always had problems with the government trying to shut them down. Their aptitude is so fucking high. And we're talking about math. We're talking about science. We're talking about literature. We're talking about the Marcus Garvey School. I think it's on Slauson, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but it's in Southern California, Los Angeles. Look it up. Look up the numbers on this school. It's ridiculous. Imagine how brilliant you would be if you were in control of your own education narrative. If you weren't so busy trying to climb a ladder of benchmarks that were established by the system to keep you subjugated. Imagine if it was your ladder you were climbing, a ladder that your daddy built, a ladder that his daddy built, a ladder that his daddy before him built. Imagine if that was the ladder you were climbing. That's what the Jews do. Tell me I'm lying. They got their own educational system. Go to a Jewish school. That educational system is controlled by them. Right? Go to an Asian school here in Los Angeles. They control their education. You don't. We don't. I don't.
That's absolutely true.
Right? So I'm saying we live this bullshit ass lie with a bunch of bullshit ass excuses. And this is why we're rioting. If you say the youth is in the street rioting, it's because niggas like me, right? My generation, hip hop, whatever, we failed them, just like the generation before failed us. If Martin Luther King was saying before he died, because this is still the same fucking narrative of assimilate. If Martin Luther King said before he died, I fear I'm integrating my people into a burning house, why are we still using that narrative? Listen, I had an Indiegogo page. And I pushed it hard and nobody really supported it. We got up to about, well, that's not true. That's not true. Let me acknowledge the people who did support it. It was 319 people who supported my Indiegogo page. That's a lot of people across the country. There was a sister down south, the only sister who, she actually donated more than anyone of the 319 people. She donated a lump sum $500. She's only 24 years old. She said, I've been listening to your show and that shit is dope. You changing people's lives. How can I help? So let me acknowledge the 17%. That was the number we hit, 17%. And what was it for? A fucking 7-city tour where I come and teach relationship skills. Why is relationship skills is everything. If we don't know how to relate, we don't know how to communicate. If we don't know how to communicate, we don't know how to connect. If we're not communing together, how can we respect each other? That's the whole purpose. It's not to be famous. It's not to be like some hood celebrity, some YouTube guy. That's not what it's for. I'm trying to do it on a national level, what I was doing at Fauché Middle School in South Central when I met Precious as a senior. That's what I'm trying to do. But what niggas want to do? Niggas don't want to do shit. But they want to bitch and complain about injustice. Well, your apathy is a part of the injustice that you experience. Come on. All right, listen. We got to start wrapping it. Veronica, where can they find you? How can they support you?
You know, I'm all things Veronica Conway all the time. Also, blackmastery.com, theblackpaper.com. You know, hit me up. Word.
Heka activated. My girl came in here and lit this place up. Where can they find you, Heka?
Oh, my goodness.
find me at HekaActivated.com, and that's Heka spelled Heka, activated.com. And you could also find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Heka Activated.
Wow. Ashonti Ford.
You can find me on YouTube, Girl on Fire Production, Twitter and Instagram, Ashonti Ford Live. And then just on a lighter note, I just want to put out a reminder that the Essence Festival is in New Orleans, July 2nd through the 5th. I will definitely be attending. I hope to see some more of my beautiful black people out there.
Oh, motherfuckers gonna make it to the S Fest. That's another hookup fest. That's what that is. They're gonna be there for that. You can believe that.
I'm going for the art and the food. Thank you.
I'm just saying what it is, what it historically is. Listen, that Indiegogo page has long been shut down. But if you want to support my movement, if you really down with what I'm down with and what I'm trying to do with my relationship book that's coming out, the Relationship Dismount, just go to PayPal, click Send Money, and put in my email address, zowhatorders@gmail.com. ZOWHAT, WHAT, orders@gmail.com. My first relationship roundtable will be held in Houston, Texas, probably the 2nd or 3rd week of July. If you want to support what I'm trying to do, just get at me. That's the easiest way. Go to paypal.com, click Send Money, and help us do this. We're trying to do 7 cities. And if you want to get down, you can get down. If not, it's cool. I'm going to put the book out anyway. So that's what's up. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you for hanging in there. I changed the topic at the last second because of what's happening in these streets. And everybody from Baltimore that reached out, I appreciate you guys. And I'll see y'all Wednesday. We'll get back on this topic then. All right? Zoe Williams, Voice of Reason, Hot Button Radio, Dash Radio. We out till Wednesday.